Hi friends, Molton here and welcome back. Today's all going to be about online chess, blitz, and general study habits on how to improve in this particular rating range. I've prepared a 10 question tactical quiz for you to see how you stack up against the younger version of myself. And at the end, I'm also going to give you some practical tips on how to improve from 1000 to 1600 and then breaking 1600 all the way until the big 2000 mark. So stick around and I'll see you in a few seconds. So slight change in setting today. We're actually in ICC, which was the very first chess server I started playing on in 2003-2004. Back then there weren't so many options for online chess since it was still growing, and this was the most popular at the time. And a lot of really strong players as well as famous chess personalities and streamers nowadays all started from here. So after my second unsuccessful attempt at the Australian Juniors, I realized I need to make some drastic changes if I was going to see some improvement. And that didn't mean just my opening repertoire, but also my study habits, as well as the amount of hours I was going to put into training daily. So the good thing about ICC is that it actually logs the amount of hours that you've spent online. So if you actually look back in the ICC, which I've actually done here, you can see that I've spent a lot of hours. But mind you, a lot of this would have been just me logged in online and I wouldn't have been playing the entire time. But during this particular year, I probably would have spent close to the 1000 hour mark, and you can sort of work out how much that is on a daily basis. It's quite a lot. And the good thing was there was just so many chess tournaments run all the time, including these 24-hour blitz marathons, which I remember playing, which now that I think about it is totally insane, but back then it was lots of fun. And even in between rounds there was stuff to keep us entertained, like betting bot and print, which was basically like a text-based version of the Legend of the Red Dragon game, which was also very highly addictive, mind you. But back to the actual chess, when I was actually studying on a daily basis, what I would do is allocate some time to studying with tactics, using tactic servers online, practicing to get that sort of time pressure element in. Also, I would use puzzles and calculation books, and I would usually try to solve them straight from the book. That would help a lot with the actual visualization. I'd only pull out a board if I was really stuck or having a lot of difficulty there. In terms of my opening repertoire, I changed up quite a bit because I didn't have a coach, so there was a lot of trial and error. I would learn from opening books as well as online videos were available, as well as even cassette players, which was and DVDs, which was what was used back then. I would also implement these into my actual blitz games, so I would practice them and again trial and error my way to see what was working and what was not working, and that's how I sort of refined my repertoire. So another thing I really enjoyed doing was playing through games from the Chess Informant books, which was really just a collection of the latest games into each edition. And I'd play through on a board or on the computer just to pick up ideas in my relevant openings. And nowadays we don't have to do that because we just have everything available in databases. But I still think that there's something helpful about actually playing it out on an actual board, which might help stick in your mind a little bit better. So now I've actually selected 10 tactical positions from my old ICC games in my library, which I've saved, and I'm going to give it to you as a tactical quiz and see how you go. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you at the end of it. So I've gone through and chosen 10 of my favorite tactics from some of my past ICC games, which you can test yourself with here. I'll give you 10 seconds on each problem, but feel free to pause the video if you need more time. Otherwise, you can skip ahead to the solutions if you just want to enjoy the answers. So let's get started with number 1. Okay, so if you had a go, well done. And let's go through the solutions now. So the number one, the solution is knight to b5, hitting the queen, and also we're hitting the bishop. The idea is that if they capture here, we'll capture the bishop here, hitting the rook. Once the rook moves, then we have the move rook takes e6 here, which is leading to checkmate. And if we go back, if the queen goes to b7 instead, then white has a very nice queen takes d5 here. And after queen takes d5, there is the move knight to c7, checkmate. Okay, number two. Here, black to move, we have the move rook takes e3. Using the fact that the king is very exposed in the center, and then we discovered check on f5. The king has to go to f3, and then knight h4 is checkmate since our bishop on a7 cuts the retreat square from the king. Next one. So this one is a very nice opening trap, which this is one of the only times I actually got this in an actual game. So if you're curious from the opening moves, it starts something like this. And then after knight f6, e5, knight d5, c4. And here if black plays the move bishop b4 check, which is very natural, white can answer with the move king to e2. And after king e2, because of the attack on the knight and the threat to trap the bishop, black is actually losing a piece here. For example, knight e7, we play a3, and then b4 followed by bishop b6 and c5 would win the piece. Number 5. So we can play king d7 here to unpin, very nice move. And now we're unpinning, but at the same time pinning white's knight and queen and also attacking it. So black will win a piece or exchange. Here we can, instead of moving the queen, play the move knight to c7, counterattacking the rook. The only idea is that after rook f6, we have to play the move knight e8 check. And if black plays the move king h6, then because of the threat of back rank mate and the threat of black taking the queen, we cannot capture the rook with the knight. Instead, we can play the move queen takes f6 here, and white is winning. Since, however, black captures, we will capture back and be material up. Next one. This one is a simple checkmate, so white can play rook takes c6, pawn takes, and then bishop a6 is mate. Number 7, we have a nice smothers mate. So we have queen g1 check, rook takes, and then we can play the move knight g3 check, followed by rook h5. Number 8, queen takes g7, king takes, rook h7 check, king f8, rook takes f7, followed by checkmates with the knights. Number 9. So this one is a queen trap, so we can play the move g5 here. And for example, queen h3 is followed by g4. By the way, if white captures here, then we can just capture on f2 and then win the rook in the corner. So queen h6, and then we have rook h5, queen f4 followed by e5, and the queen on f4 is lost. And lastly, we have this trap, which I managed to get in this game after actually preparing it for one particular opponent. And I actually missed this in the actual game, but I got to play it in this particular blitz game instead. And that's the move rook takes e7. It's probably my longest line of preparation I've ever done in any game ever played. So after king takes e7, I played rook check. King goes back, and then we have knight e6 check, pawn takes, queen takes f6, king c7, and then rook takes e6 is the difficult move to spot here since it's just a quiet move. If the queen goes check, then we play king up, queen check, then king goes back to d1, queen check, then we bring our rook back. And the whole point is that if black trades off into the queen and rook ending, then the queen will be much stronger just because all the pawn weaknesses in black's position. And if he declines it, then we have rook check, and then we pick up the rook in the corner, and the game ended with Another nice tactic here after queen e5, queen e3, d4, and rook d2, followed by rook captures and check on e4. So I hope you enjoyed those tactics. As you can see, calculation played a huge role in my improvement in this particular rating range. As for openings, endgames, and positional understanding, that's something I developed later on. So I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.